But first, I've said it before and I'll say it again, you don't hate the leftist media enough. You think you do, but trust me, you don't. Just when you thought they could not be any more shamelessly biased and dishonest in their activism, along comes the great debate between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump. Not really a debate, but a setup where the two hack moderators became the story. Democrat Dave and Davis disgraced themselves with not only framing every question from a leftist perspective, but refusing to ask about pertinent events like Trump almost having his head blown off a few weeks ago, to Kamala's support for the most radical policies, from backing a bail fund for BLM thugs to supporting taxpayer funds being used for sex change operations for criminals. And not a single question about Kamala abandoning the Gold Star families who lost their loved ones during the Biden-Harris administration's botched Afghanistan withdrawal. Nothing. Not even as she claimed over and over again that it's Trump that has no respect for the military. The moderators also insisted on fact-checking Trump, even when he was 100% right, like about the crime rate and late-term abortions, but they refused to do the same with Kamala Harris, even when she repeated the most outrageous, verifiable lies, including the dangerous Charlottesville fine people hoax and the more recent bloodbath lie, which was actually about the auto industry. And it didn't end with the debate. Much of the media went into a full-blown meltdown trying to debunk Trump's claims about Harris's policy positions, even when they happen to be true. Here is the New Yorker's Suzanne Glasser tweeting, "Trump made history last night for sure. Who will ever forget him ranting on stage about immigrants eating people's dogs, or insisting that the vice president wants to do transgender operations on illegal aliens that are in jail? My piece on Trump's too crazy moment." And yes, she published her activism masquerading as journalism in the New Yorker. But guess what? It may sound too crazy, but Kamala does want taxpayer funds used for sex change operations for illegal immigrants in prison. Let's marvel at this wonderful moment in journalism. Look at this correction from Time magazine. The original version of this story mischaracterised as false Donald Trump's statement accusing Kamala Harris of supporting transgender operations on illegal aliens in prison. As a presidential candidate in 2019, Harris filled out a questionnaire saying she supported taxpayer-funded gender transition treatment for detained immigrants. Oh, she didn't just mention it in a questionnaire. She has proudly boasted about her far-left, radical, lunatic views and putting them into action.
That they were standing in the way of surgery.
For prisoners.
For prisoners. And there was a specific case. And when I learned about the case, I worked behind the scenes to not only make sure that that transgender woman got the services she was deserving. So it wasn't only about that case. I made sure that they changed the policy in the state of California so that every transgender inmate in the prison system would have access to the medical care that they desired and need. And I believe it was not only, I know it was historic in California, but I believe actually it may have been one of the first, if not the first in the country, where I pushed for that policy in a Department of Corrections.
And yet, even when the proof came out, the media tried to soften the blow for the Democrats by claiming Donald Trump's statement needed context. Yes, the context is she absolutely said what he said, she said, and she means it. She's never retracted from that position for those policies. But perhaps the most devastating lie that Kamala was allowed to utter without correction from the moderators was the fine people hoax, which they knew to be a lie, a dangerous lie. This is what Trump actually said. And yes, he did condemn the white supremacists completely. His fine people comment was about folks who were protesting the removal of historic statues. And guess what? Those folks were 100% right. But for the record, let's go to the tape.
And you had people, and I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis and the white nationalists, because they should be condemned totally. But you had many people in that group other than neo-Nazis and white nationalists, okay?
Should be condemned totally, got turned, twisted into white supremacists are very fine people. That's what the media did. And those moderators knew perfectly well that Harris was lying, and they let it go over and over and over again.